In a stunning turn of events, it is reported today that Ellen DeGeneres is abandoning the United Kingdom, fleeing back to Montecito and the company of her closest confidant, Meghan Markle. Markle, it should be noted, is currently embroiled in a fierce contest with Meghan and P. Diddy for the ignominious title of the most loathed celebrity in the world for the year 2025. The sentiment is clear: a curt farewell is in order, a stern warning not to slam the door on the way out, and an emphatic plea for neither Ellen nor Portia de Rossi to ever grace their shores again. The hypocrisy is infuriating, is it not? When these so-called Louis elites proclaim they are moving to the UK in a grand gesture against Donald Trump, only to pack their bags and retreat after a single winter, they are exposed as nothing more than pathetic virtue signalers, utterly unwanted. Ollie London allegedly peeled back the curtain on the affair, writing, "Ellen DeGeneres backtracks on staying in the UK while Trump is president after missing the warm weather and lifestyle in California." And how quickly her tune changed. She had previously declared her move an escape from Trump's presidency, insisting life in England was simply superior. A dramatic tale was spun of her waking on Election Day to a flood of distraught texts. Her panicked query, "He got in?" followed by the defiant vow, "We're staying here." Yet, according to whispers from the couple's inner circle, a very different plan is now afoot. It appears they are now plotting a more permanent return to California's Golden Coast. This bombshell report first broke in the Mail, where Caroline Graham detailed how the former talk show host and her wife Portia had initially cast Donald Trump as the villain in their transatlantic drama. But now, the Mail on Sunday has unearthed a startling revelation from within their camp. Miss DeGeneres has reportedly confided in friends that she and Miss de Rossi are orchestrating a return to sunny California, citing a deep longing for their friends and an absolute dread of facing another brutal British winter. A source revealed to the newspaper, Ellen was adamant that she and Portia were going to stay in the UK while Trump was in the White House, but evidently she's changed her mind somewhat. The source continued, "She's been telling friends they are coming home soon because they can't. They miss them and can't take the winters over there. And Portia wants to act again. They will be here for the holidays and longer by the sound of it." The couple, famously wed in 2008, had initially settled into the sprawling Kitesbridge farm in Swinbrook, Oxfordshire, but that 48-acre estate was suddenly placed on the market in July for a staggering $22.5 million. They then relocated to a lavish hilltop mansion with ample land for horses, a prerequisite for Miss de Rossi, who is a passionate rider. DeGeneres herself explained, "When we decided to live here full-time, we knew that Portia couldn't live without her horses, needed a home that had a horse facility and pastures for them. The home also offered plenty of space for their 2 puppies and their older dog." But the source was unequivocal, stating that Ellen made it very clear they were coming back to California sooner rather than later, as they sorely missed the warm weather and their social circle. The discussion then turns to a superstar panel featuring conservative commentator and YouTuber Based and Bougie and Steph the Altar Nerd, host of the Political Nerds podcast. Steph, a noted royal commentator, is prompted to frame this as a kind of reverse Megxit. Thus, a sharp contrast is drawn. While Harry and Meghan decamp to Montecito, it is rumored that Harry despises it and desperately wishes to return home, but is trapped, a pariah for a multitude of reasons. Ellen's move, however, was the opposite, a grand pronouncement of her intent to embrace the UK's wonderful socialist government where life was promised to be so much greater. And yet, within months, she is seen skulking back from whence she came. The question hangs in the air, does Britain truly need her kind of influence? The sentiment is echoed by Steph, who observes that just as Harry learned the hard lesson that the grass is not always greener, so too have Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi. In a moment of brutal honesty, and as far as the couple is concerned, they are advised to make sure the door closes firmly behind them on their return to California. One can almost picture Megxit, as they speak, already assembling a welcome hamper of her signature goodies, the spreads, a solitary flower, sprinkles, and other trifles to greet her friends with a triumphant, "Welcome back to Cali, guys." They truly, as the host notes, deserve one another. Indeed, they do. And another theory emerges for their hasty departure. These are individuals who could be described as full-blown narcissists. While in the UK, they were starved of the attention they crave. No one seemed to care one bit that they were even there. This is a universe away from California, where they are constantly watched and celebrated. There, they are praised and revered. But here in Britain, no one gives a damn that they are present, and it's speculated they couldn't stand it and now wish to return to their adoring public. The focus shifts to Based and Bougie, asking for her take on celebrities who engage in this sort of chicken-run maneuver when politics don't go their way. We have seen a parade of them lately, like Narendra Kaur threatening a move to India should Nigel Farage become Prime Minister, only to sheepishly retract it months later. The curious case here is that Ellen DeGeneres, for once, actually followed through with her dramatic exit, unlike on a previous occasion, but it is blindingly clear the move has not worked out for her. A clandestine dispatch was issued, a personal appeal directly from him, revealing the paramount method for supporting Dan Outspoken, a pledge of allegiance to his Substack at outspoken.live. This digital sanctuary, a bastion of free speech, is his sole protection from the looming threat of big tech's silencing decrees and the perilous snares of lawfare. For the inner circle, the paid annual or monthly loyalists, a clandestine reward is granted, an additional hour of unfiltered truths with the Royal Uncanceled After Show, broadcast every weekday, entirely free from the influence of advertisers. It is also a platform where one can message him directly. That address again is www.outspoken.live. As the discussion resumes, the sentiment is that they are, in fact, just narcissists. The true reason for their retreat is that here in the UK, the culture of celebrity worship is effectively dead and buried. Compared to the feverish adoration found in LA or Hollywood, where people practically prostrate themselves at the feet of celebrities, Britons simply do not care. A more provocative theory is then floated. Perhaps the real reason for their flight back to the USA was an unwelcoming neighbor, a hypothetical Muhammad, who could not stand the sight of two lesbian women and chose to shout Sharia for UK from his balcony, a terrifying prospect that likely scared them back to the United States. They may have had a shocking realization that the UK is not the liberal utopia that Hollywood imagines it to be. The host agrees vehemently, positing that Ellen DeGeneres may have stumbled into the harsh reality of an Islamist takeover in progress. Not only do they dislike women and wish to confine them to the house, but for a lesbian woman, the proclaimed fate is far grimmer, with whispers of being pushed from the top of a building, a doctrine allegedly taught in some mosques. Perhaps she finally understood that the socialist Islamist hellscape of the United Kingdom under Keir is not all it's cracked up to be for two lesbian women. But back to Steph, the alt-nerd. There are an astonishing number of parallels between the public implosion of Ellen DeGeneres and that of Meghan Markle on both sides of the Atlantic. Are there not? These are women who have now been completely exposed, their true characters laid bare for all to see. They were accused of treating their staff with shocking cruelty, of bullying numerous people who came into their orbit. Their diva antics were so appalling that in Ellen's case, it allegedly included a decree that no one was to look at her if they passed her in a corridor. It feels as if that entire era of celebrity entitlement has finally come to an end. We now live in a world that demands the unvarnished truth, where authenticity is paramount. The problem for both Ellen DeGeneres and Meghan Markle is that they claim to be exceedingly nice people in public. It was all a performance of happy, joyful benevolence, as if they did everything for charity and for the world. But then the truth was revealed about what they were really like, how they truly treated their staff, their friends, and even their own family members. It is this dissonance that feels as though it has utterly destroyed their careers. In fact, a comeback for either Ellen DeGeneres or Meghan Markle seems almost inconceivable. So, in a strange twist, they will likely provide some measure of comfort to one another. For in Ellen's case, she can at least console herself with the fact that one of her neighbors is perceived to be even more hated than she is, a fact borne out by recent polling on the most reviled celebrities of 2025 so far. Currently, Ellen finds herself in third place. P. Diddy, who is presently behind bars, occupies the second position. But Meghan Markle, it is declared, remains firmly at number 1. A correction is offered, suggesting the order was recently swapped, with P. Diddy at 1 and Megxit at 2. But regardless, the race is perilously close. It is conceded that this may be correct, as the data was from a couple of weeks ago, and there is great anticipation to see who will ultimately seize the crown when the final end-of-year results are released. But for now, it is undeniably a three-horse race between these controversial figures. It is what's left unsaid in that article that is most telling. Ellen DeGeneres knows her career is over, yet Meghan still hasn't gotten the message. The report makes a point to focus on Portia de Rossi wanting to get back into acting, stating it quite explicitly, but it offers nothing about what Ellen DeGeneres plans to do when she returns to Hollywood. This omission indicates only one thing. She knows her career is over. She knows it is dead, and so she can simply live out the rest of her days as a multi-millionaire without a care in the world. Meanwhile, Meghan still hasn't received the memo and continues trying to force us to pay for her tripe, whatever it is, now for the Christmas holidays, with candles that are not really candles, but are just blocks of wax, tellingly without the wick needed to actually light them, and so on. So, in the end, it is good riddance to Ellen and Portia, two figures whose presence was so insignificant that their being in the UK was all but forgotten. With that, a shift in tone. It is time to have some fun, ladies. The official rankings as they stand right now are about to be revealed. This is the current state of the most hated celebrities in the world for 2025, though not yet the final results. But first, a jarring question. Have you ever truly examined the nutrition label on a normal bag of crisps? You will typically find a complete chemical cocktail: seed oils, MSG, and artificial dyes. Vague natural flavors mask a list of ingredients that reads more like a science experiment than a simple snack. And then we are left to wonder why we feel bloated, tired, and frankly, quite grim after consuming them. This is why there was such interest upon the discovery of masa. They are part of a growing real food movement, dedicated to bringing back the kind of food our grandparents ate before snacks became so corrupted, crafted within clandestine laboratories. Yet, a revelation emerges. Masa's tortilla chips, comprised of a mere 3 pure ingredients: organic nixtamalized corn, pristine sea salt, and a full 100% grass-fed beef tallow. Nothing more. An end to seed oils, an escape from cryptic chemicals' only authentic sustenance. And herein lies the astonishing truth. They not only shun the detritus of modern food, but their flavor is utterly sublime. To indulge in Mas chips is an experience far removed from the mundane act of consuming ordinary chips. With Masi, one feels a profound sense of satisfaction, a lightness of being, and a surge of energy. There is no subsequent collapse, no bloating, no dreadful lethargy, for they are forged from true nourishment, rendering them deeply fulfilling. One does not find themselves mindlessly consuming an entire family-sized bag only to remain unappeased. And for those devoted to masa, a new obsession awaits in its sister company, Vandy Crisps. The affinity for crisps is well known. It is said Vandy crafts the most exquisitely flavored 3-ingredient potato chips, delivering authentic taste and a satisfying crunch, unburdened by a contemptible list of ingredients. Is one prepared to embrace masa or Vandy? An exclusive offer awaits. Use the code OUTSPOKEN to receive a 25% discount on a first order at masachips.com or vandycrisps.com. For greater ease, one might simply follow the link in the video description below or scan the on-screen QR code to seize this delectable opportunity. And for observers within the United States, a whisper reveals that masa and Vandy are now obtainable nationwide at local Sprouts supermarkets. One is urged to procure a bag or two before they vanish. But now, the drama resumes. At the 20th position, the notorious Amber Heard. At number 19, the magnate Jay-Z. In the 18th spot, Mark Zuckerberg. And at number 17, another figure from across the pond, James Corden. At number 16, the controversial Woody Allen. Number 15 is claimed by Jake Paul. At 14th, Hilaria Thomas, the wife of Alec Baldwin, makes a shocking ascent up the ranks. In the 13th position, Chris Brown, a name long mired in controversy following the infamous assault on Rihanna. At 12th, James Charles, a personality from the American internet, a name perhaps more familiar to the younger generation. And at number 11, Kanye West. A gasp is heard. At number 10, the matriarch Kris Jenner. Number 9, her daughter Kim Kardashian. In the 8th spot, Chrissy Teigen, notably, another of Meghan Markle's closest confidantes. The connection becomes clear. At number 7, the disgraced Bill Cosby. But the most staggering revelation of all, Prince Harry is deemed more despised than Bill Cosby. Heavens above, Harry sits at number 6. And at number 5, the Queen of Talk, Oprah Winfrey. She, it must be noted, is yet another casualty, another soul who fell victim to the influence of Meghan Markle. Her popularity was unquestioned before that fateful interview. A startling turn. Ellen is at number 4, a slight fall from grace. Then, Jada Pinkett Smith, who has astonishingly risen to the 3rd position. Sean Combs claims the 2nd spot. But at this very moment, the crown of infamy rests upon Meghan. There she is, at the apex of the most disliked celebrities list, her rightful place, some would argue. The question is posed to Based in Bougie. What is her assessment of this damning list? Are there any shocks? A sense of satisfaction is expressed that Meghan remains at the pinnacle, driven by a desire not for her ruin, but for her to be humbled. There is a yearning for the Duchess to comprehend that her endeavors hold no interest for the public. In a sentiment echoing the Talk TV host's dismissal of Katie Hopkins, there is an utter disregard for Meghan. She is branded as tedious, inauthentic, and ravenous for fame. The ultimate transgression, it is argued, was her willingness to betray her own family and forsake a privileged station within the royal family, all for the fleeting glow of celebrity. For such actions, respect could never be granted. Thus, the verdict is delivered. Let her remain at the top, perhaps indefinitely. The focus then shifts to Steph, with a query about a potential alliance between Ellen DeGeneres and Meghan Markle. This speculation is fueled by the intriguing, behind-the-scenes revelation of Meghan's burgeoning friendship with none other than Chrissy Teigen. And this alliance is utterly fascinating, for Chrissy Teigen herself was cast out, branded as one of the internet's most vicious trolls after Courtney Stodden exposed the cruel torment she endured, including suggestions that she should end her own life. The question hangs in the air. Does Meghan not grasp that when one is deeply disliked, aligning with even more reviled figures is a strategy doomed to fail? Or is this merely an attempt to seek solace in a court of outcasts? Dan is addressed. The opinion is offered that this alliance is not a future possibility, but a past reality. Meghan Markle and Ellen DeGeneres, it is claimed, have already joined forces. A memory is invoked from 2, perhaps 3 years prior, in the aftermath of Megxit, when the Sussexes themselves were present at the vow renewal of Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi, a ceremony officiated by Kris Jenner. The connection was forged then. Their forces were already united. It is predicted that upon Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi's return to California, this bond will simply resume where it was paused. One can easily envision the Duchess dispatching a flurry of gift baskets filled with her signature wares. It would come as no surprise, then, if Ellen were to showcase these offerings on her social media, proclaiming, "Oh, from my dear friend, the Duchess, behold her magnificent spread. Look at this floral arrangement. The sprinkles. Is she not so kind? Is this not so grand?" And so on and so forth. Yes, but Basie is reminded of the profound risk involved, a point of utter fascination. Consider Oprah Winfrey, a figure who, by all accounts, would never have appeared on that top 10 list of despised celebrities had she not been drawn into Meghan's orbit and conducted that interview where Meghan was permitted to unleash a torrent of falsehoods against the British royal family. This included the ultimate accusation, as Based in Bougie points out, that the British royal family was racist, a claim met with no resistance. Oprah, it is argued, now serves as the ultimate cautionary tale, a stark warning to other celebrities about the perils of associating with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, explaining why so many now shun any public connection. For there is a genuine, professional peril in doing so. And herein lies the truth of the matter with Meghan and Harry, or Winge and Ginge, as they are dubbed. They have, in essence, engineered their own downfall. One can pen endless books, exposing family secrets, betraying kin, and fabricating tales of one's youth. But behind the gilded facade, people are watching, and trust is eroding. They failed to grasp a crucial reality. All the popularity and wealth in the world cannot purchase trust. As for Oprah Winfrey, the disappointment in her performance during that interview was palpable. She offered no pushback, posed no challenging questions, and simply accepted every word Meghan uttered as gospel. Such deference, it is claimed, is not the mark of a true journalist. A long-held dislike for Oprah Winfrey is confessed. She is seen as something of a fraud, promoting New Age ideologies that clash with Christian beliefs. Ultimately, the prediction is made that the same fate awaits Chrissy Teigen. Should she continue her close association with Meghan, the animosity directed towards her is only destined to intensify. Indeed, a chilling prophecy. The conversation with Based in Bougie is lauded as absolutely brilliant. Viewers are urged to follow her across all social media platforms, TikTok, X, and YouTube, for her incisive commentary. Praise is also given to Steph the Alt Nerd, the host of the exceptional Political Nerds channel on YouTube. Adoration is expressed for both, with immense gratitude for their invaluable presence. And in a moment, the day's greatest Britain and Union jackass will be unveiled. But first, the voices of the audience are heard. Adrian Smith writes that Tommy Robinson's vindication is a recurring theme, one that will repeat itself. A call is made to attend the Unite the Kingdom Carols event on the 13th of December if possible. This sentiment is met with approval. Flytime 6737 then offers a challenge. If the celebrity class wishes to counter Unite the Kingdom, let them stage a rival protest on the same day, and let the size of the crowd be the ultimate judge. A brilliant suggestion, it is called. Michelangelo D. opines that Paloma Faith's career has faltered, and this is merely a desperate attempt at renewed relevance from someone he deems talentless. A more poignant note is struck by Kath Lendon, who laments, "The South was once my home. Now I can only sit and weep. For all my grandchildren who reside in the South, I am weary, so very weary." Alan Tate declares that the nation is in decline, calling for strong men of conviction in government and citing Tommy Robinson as an example. Middleton and Vry 6219 speculates that Nigel Farage's silence on the BBC makeup controversy suggests he has been deeply affected by the incident. Overwhelming affection is then shown for the day's superstar panel. Are they not extraordinary? One looks upon that panel, upon Basie and Steph the Alt Nerd, and a glimmer of optimism emerges. Perhaps there is hope for the United Kingdom after all. Perhaps there is hope for the media establishment, for these are truly rising stars. The Yorkshire Patriot declares it the best panel I've seen on here, a commendation of the highest order given the caliber of past discussions. Okay, and now, a reminder of the nominees for today's Union Jackass. First, Rachel Reeves, put forth by Blame Game, who asks, "Why is this government incapable of honesty?" Next, James O'Brien, nominated by Cass Quinn for his defense of the Chancellor on his lamentable LBC program, a performance likened to that of Comical Ali, the infamous Iraqi propaganda minister. And finally, Tulip Siddiq, nominated by It's Only Me 44, she is the MP sentenced to jail in Bangladesh following a trial held in absentia. The question is asked, how can such a person retain her seat in Parliament? The bitter irony, of course, is that she once served as the anti-corruption minister. The verdict has been delivered. She secured 13% of the vote. The runner-up, James O'Brien, garnered 33%, but the title of today's Union Jackass is bestowed upon the individual deemed the worst in Britain today. Could she soon be behind bars? Rachel Reeves, facing the specter of a prison sentence for her alleged fraud against the British people. And today's greatest Briton is Richard Hughes, nominated by Real M. Cass, who praises the former OBR chief. For despite an IT error that resulted in a budget leak, he is credited with the rare and courageous decision to depose the despicable Chancellor. It is now revealed that he has been forced from his position as a consequence of his actions. A dangerous concoction of evils is said to permeate this Labour government. Gratitude is expressed for tuning in to Dan Wooten Outspoken. Viewers are invited to subscribe to this new, independent source of news by clicking the icon at the bottom left and to activate the notification bell for alerts on new live broadcasts. These include uncensored interviews and exclusive royal specials. Furthermore, Outspoken is now available in podcast form for those who wish to listen on the go.